Hello, everyone. This is Thomas Pepin, NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin, and let's talk about the NHL. So, today I am late by half an hour, so my apologies. I guess it's a good time to remind that this is, in fact, a hobby at this point, and so I could be late at times. It hasn't happened that often, but yeah, in any case. And then, likewise, just keep in mind that the schedule could change at some point for a large number of reasons. So, um, again, mostly because this is just a hobby. But in any case, like I said, my apologies for being a bit late here. And as a result, and I guess as always, everything's done on the spot. No prep except for the subject. And I, in fact, today had absolutely no time to prep, not even 5 minutes before starting the stream. So, just remembering what the subject is today again, it is determining what amount of goals for and against and differential are necessary to make the playoffs. So, uh, yeah, so we're going to look to answer that question. So, again, it's just the subject that I know, so I have to plan what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, all on the spot. And this is the same for every stream. Some streams are just more smooth than others because they might have like 5 minutes before, but this time completely on the spot, which is lots of fun. So that means we need NHL.com stats. Is there going to be a way to do this easier? Because it doesn't list on NHL.com without having to do extra work who made the playoffs. So I'm just going to see because I think ESPN previously had it where they put like an X beside the teams that make it. NHL standings. Super. Thankfully, I know my stuff well enough here. Now, the question is does it translate well into a spread? Oh, and it doesn't have goals for and against. Oh, it does. There it is. Now, does it turn into a spreadsheet? That is the question. Yuck. It does not. Is there another way? Separated by space? No. Comma, no. 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 So I did remember correctly, but it doesn't translate well. What's There's another one I use regularly. Let's see if they have it. I know it is taking time at least to get things started, but this is going to save time later, so it does matter. Who else could have it? ESPN, TSN? I don't think so, but nope. This has it. They don't make it so you can copy. Actually, I can at least show you guys me working on trying to figure this out, so I'll share the screen for that. NHL Sportsnet? I don't think so. An error has occurred. Okay, well, thank you. Oh, great, your website's perfect. You just have errors. Thanks, Sportsnet. That's helpful. Yeah, and you only have this year's. That's helpful too. The Athletic? Or is this behind a paywall? They don't have goals. CBS. They don't have historic. See what I mean? Don't have historic either. USA Today, CBC might. That one I could see happening. Okay, so this one could work if it translates. Doesn't translate well, but it's not horrendous. So we'll keep this one. CBC's no good. Hockey reference might be good. Oh, we want last year's previous season. Playoff teams with an asterisk, that's a good sign. I think this one works. Oh, excellente. See, this is what I mean. Sometimes it takes a bit of time, but this will make it way, way quicker. So it has goals for, against. I can do differential easy. Expanded standings doesn't have playoff teams. So, oh, and it did. Okay, good. So we are set. Now, again, the data we have to use is from 2013, 14, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 is the 6-year stretch we're going to use. So, so I have my site. This is going to save a chunk of time because otherwise I would have to cross-reference who made the playoffs, and then it's just totally not efficient. So this one, it's going to have a bit of copying and pasting, but it's fine. So we want the columns first. Why did it do that? It's okay. We'll move it over. Then we want team. And then that should translate correctly. See, the good thing about you seeing me, oh yeah, I got to get the right season. About you seeing me having to go find this stuff, you can find, like, that's a very important thing when you're trying to do things most efficiently, is things like finding the data set that makes it easiest for you to copy and paste. So it's things that I've had to learn the hard way of really struggling to cross-reference things, like I said. So rather than just easily figuring out who made the playoffs, you have to go and match up the standings with who made the playoffs, and then give me a sec. I want to make sure this works right. Yeah, you have to make sure which teams made the playoffs, and then mark them off as having made the playoffs, and it just takes way more time, and it's not worth it. So, yeah, so oftentimes it's just a question of finding the right resource, and then it makes everything way easier. Of course, the one problem in theory is that is hockeyreference.com reputable enough to have accurate statistics? I mean, I missed a cell there. That's kind of the question, the problem. But, I mean, you would hope that it's correct, and I mean, it would be would be pretty difficult to screw it up when all this information is easily accessible on the internet. So, so that's the one risk of using this resource, is the data could be wrong. But, jeez, why is it not copying that cell? But yeah, I doubt that they screwed things up that bad. Because then why would people be using the website? It just, it wouldn't happen. And I know this site's used, so, so anyways. What I should do is also mark the season. So I want to do that. I should do that first. 2013, 2014. Cool. So that's good. Now we want 14, 15. Ugh. Okay. So this one, once we have all the data inputted, the calculations will be pretty easy. So just the time consuming part is the gathering of the data. And on that note, as always, I mean, if you have something you're working on or could be doing, you can always leave me on in the background. I've done 2 of 6 seasons, so however long it's taken so far, multiply that by 3, and then that's when you could come back, I guess. But that's it's up to you. So cool. This one subject I did, I forget when I did that. It was for a school project. I did a report on the what's the best way to put it? So I think the title of the report was Leveling the Playing Field. So basically about the salary cap and seeing whether or not it actually made it so new teams were competitive. So comparing before and after the salary cap. And so I did a lot of this, what's required to make the playoffs and all that previously. So some of this stuff, well, I mean, obviously this is the first and only time doing it in this format, but yeah, it's just interestingly enough, I guess, I did the same subject previously, at least in some small amount. Yeah, and just out of in case you are interested of the results, I mean, I don't have them on me anymore, or at least right now. Um, and to be honest, I don't think the quality would have been as good because that was in my first year of college, I think. Uh, so it was the first year of my associate's degree. Oh, stupid thing. Um, and yeah, my the quality of my work. I mean, it wasn't bad. I got a really good mark on it, and the professor said that it was good enough for like a university thesis. But for me, it's just I have high standards for my work, so I mean, it wasn't as good. It didn't include enough statistical analysis and stuff. Um, but anyways, what I was getting at, the result. I don't think I said this already. This is the problem about doing two things at once. Um, yeah, the result was the salary cap did level the playing field. So different teams that um, struggled to make the playoffs previously had a better opportunity, you could say, after the salary cap, or at least based on the data that I collected, analyzed, and so on. So, but yeah, like I said, it was pretty rudimentary in terms of the quality of it. So you can take that comment with a grain of salt. And I'm basically done. Just have the last, well, a portion of the work at least. Yeah, at least gathering the data set here, and then I'm gonna have a bit of organizing to do and all that. So. Okay. So that is good. And now I just want to check. Yeah, I can't see a mistake. Give me one sec here. Do. All right, we're back. I don't know what these things are, so we will delete them. And it's not going to be part of the analysis anyways. We want diff equals that minus that. Bring it down. Yeah, maybe I didn't. Now I'm thinking I didn't really need to take all the data, did I? That's okay. I might need it again, so it doesn't hurt that I have it. We want to copy, move to the end. And then we can get rid of all the non-playoff teams. You know, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and then we'll adjust it afterwards. Because I'm going to break it down season by season, as well as in full. So I was just debating on how I was going to do that quickest. So what I'll do first is separate and then combine, because that'll be easier to do. Oh, I should change, because I think in the description I have the resource used as NHL.com. I'm going to have to change that. So, nearly done the organizing. Just hope I didn't delete any information I wasn't supposed to. Because that would be annoying. Cool. Okay, so those all have asterisks. Those two. Those two. Yeah. Yes. And yes. Okay. So data should be good. Now just need to make sure about 16 rows. 16 rows. 16 rows. 16 rows. So I shouldn't have messed anything up there. Now I can duplicate, copy, move to end. Actually do it, insert before. We're gonna call this full. Nice. So as you can see, that was way easier because it's all together now. We want we'll sum that sum that. 96. So put that here. That divided by 96 equals that divided by 96 equals. I don't really need to do that last one, but that's fine. We'll do that anyways. Then we want minimum. So this is to give us the minimum goals for required to make the playoffs. And that's from all 6 seasons. So keep in mind that in all likelihood that wouldn't be sufficient for all seasons. It might have only been certain seasons. So we want minimum goals for average, min, max. I think that's the right thing for max. Yeah. So I can do that. A negative 13 differential, and they made the playoffs. That's wild. Look at that. Detroit Red Wings in 2015-16. That's neat. Cool. So that is the full. And then we're going to do that per season as well. How many cells? So 4 space, 5 spaces. Oops. Cool. Then we want these. Where do I paste it? 4th from the right. It's always going to be 16. Oh, and that's my bad. That's okay. Equals that divided by that. Huh? Oh. We want min that. Okay. Good. Oh yeah, because I got to do that. Okay. So I might as well fix that first. Actually, is it going to work if I just do that? I think so. Cool, that might save some time. Oh, hey there, Caden. Yo, what up? Oh, not much. Just running some data here. Um, if you haven't seen already, just take a look at the description there. It'll tell you what I'm working on. So I'm nearly done. It'll kind of make sense. Uh, yeah, if you just take a look at the description, it'll make sense. And well, I'm going to be summarizing soon, anyways. So if you hang on for probably like 5 minutes, we'll get this stuff sorted out here. It's nice for once to have somebody interact. It's like super rare for somebody to comment. So far, at least, I'm working on. I gotta grow the channel before I can expect any major interaction or whatever. So I think I'm mostly done. Just give me a sec, because I'm gonna. How am I gonna do this? I think it's probably best if I do this way. Actually, let's move that over one more. Why is that not going? Yeah, might as well do it this way. Well, thanks, Keaton, for supporting, working on growing the channel and stuff. So it's a work in progress. Also, it's not like, because I'm into all this data analysis stuff. It's kind of my background and my interests, and so I know you'd have to be like a either really in-depth hockey fan or somebody from a similar background to like this stuff. I mean, obviously I'll cover other subjects that are more typical, but a lot of the stuff that I'm going to cover is very data heavy. So yeah, I mean, I get that not everybody would want to watch this. Plus, I do all the work on the spot, which for one is not easy, and second, at times can be maybe boring for the viewer, but it's like I've said why is this not yeah, it's like I've said previously, the whole point eventually is that people interact while I'm working on stuff, and then that way like-minded people can chat, and I can work on my stuff at the same time. I can interact while they're chatting. Like, I mean, it just opens up a lot more options. It's just you got to get to that point first. Oops. What happened there? I hope I haven't screwed up in the copy and pasting stuff over. See, this is it's the other problem about chatting while you're doing this stuff. It's not easy to do it without screwing up. Give me 1 second. I'm going to read what you wrote. I just got to, on the last thing, to copy and paste. So just 1 sec here. Yeah, it's funny because so when I was younger, when I started my associate's degree, uh, I was thinking about getting into hockey management and stuff, but then I was like, you really got to work right, like way, way from the bottom all the way up. And it's like, and I don't like to work for, so I don't mind working for other people, but it's just like to go through all those steps. It's just, for me, it wasn't worth it. So did my own thing, business consulting, and it's nice to be your own boss. And, I mean, maybe I'll get into it eventually, and because like doing this, maybe somebody will recognize some of the work that I do, and maybe I might get involved that way. There's different ways to get into what you're passionate about. So, I mean, kind of go with your gut is what I'd say. That's my opinion, at least. So I don't need average. Do I need min and max? I think so. No, I do need average. Do I need average? No, because it's already there, but I'll do it anyways. That. Nice response there, Caden. Yeah, it's very comprehensive. I'm just teasing. Sometimes there's not much to say when you respond, so I get it. The other thing that's good right now is I can actually, respond to people, especially when it's, you just got one person that's chatting, so I can respond to you and just you. I mean, if there's a whole bunch of people, it makes it super difficult. And I mean, I'll change the rules where it's like you have to be a subscriber to comment and stuff, but yeah, it's at least cool to, be able to interact and yeah, not have like so many people doing things at the same time. Okay, so now I'm nearly done. I just want to also do min, max, and average for each season. Did I not? Or not? Oh, sorry, for the each data point, sorry, is what I meant. So we want, oh, I need to move that down one. Good. And there we go. 6, 6, 6 equals that divided by that. And I know here I could be doing some things different ways, but I'm just trying not to think too much. Oh wait, I might be able to do that. Yeah, I might as well. Well, that's what I wanted to check. So this should be correct now. Just give me one more sec here. So I think I'm done. Give me one more sec. Yeah, we'll start with the full data. I think this will fit here. All right, so I should have the results now. So, okay, so we're trying to figure out the goals for, against, and differential necessary in order to make the playoffs. And so again, we're looking at 2013-14. up to 2018-19 because that's the longest stretch without a lockout or the COVID years. And I forget if I already said it's a 6-year stretch, so 6 consecutive seasons. So the average goals for, is that big enough? I think so. I'll make it a bit bigger. So the average goals for per season necessary to make the playoffs was 245 goals for. The average goals against was 216 and differential 29. The minimum goals for of all those seasons that allowed a team to make the playoffs was 206. Minimum goals against. So that would have been the best goals against of all the teams for 6 years. Was 174. Why is that differential negative? Oh yeah, because that's the differential of all the teams. So there, like I said previously, when I was collecting all the data while organizing, a team made the playoffs with a negative differential of 13, which is pretty lucky for them that they still managed to sneak in. So, and then the max goals for was 325. Compare that to the minimum, like that's a huge gap. So what that tells you is it's not all about how much you score. Even in the end, it's not so much about differential. I guess it's a combination of everything, but yeah, anyways. And then the most goals against that still made the playoffs was 261, which is pretty crazy. In contrast, at least to the rest. And then the best goal differential was 103 versus the negative 13, which is pretty, I mean, again, a very big difference there. So, yeah. And then now when we break it down into the seasons here, so what I did here is I figured out the average, min, and max for each of the per season data sets. So So the average of the averages of goals for per season was 245. So this gives us more of a tight range to look at of expectations. So average was 245 goals for, minimum 231, max 263. So that's kind of the normal range, you could say, for goals for. Likewise here for goals against. So average is 216 against, min 207, max 229. Differential average 29, min 23, max 33. And then this gives you the range of the minimums. So the average minimum goals for was 215. Complete minimum goals for was 206, and complete max of the minimums was 235. So what that tells you is the safest, in theory, amount of goals for to get you into the playoffs is this number here. Or once we get to the max numbers, the minimum of the maximums. That kind of gives you a range of where you want to be at minimum to make the playoffs for goals for. Same thing for goals against. So the average minimum goals against was 189. The minimum of the minimum goals against was 174, and the maximum of the minimum goals against was 203. Differentials, yeah, same sort of thing. And then the average of the maximums 283, minimum of the maximums 262. So that's, in theory, you would probably want between 235, so the maximum of the minimums, and the minimum of the maximums 262. So between 235 and 262 is probably the ideal range to target for goals for. And then the max of the maximums was 325. Average for the maximum goals against 241. Minimum of the maximums 230, and maximum of the maximums was 261. So for goals against, the target would be give me a sec to figure this out. So I think it's the same thing. So between 203 and 230 would be, is that the same? Yeah. So between, what did I say, 203 to 230 goals against is the, at least from this data set, in theory, the target range you would want for goals against. So these, again, so the whole purpose of these here is it gives us an idea of targets for goals for and goals against to make the playoffs. So then that means if you have an idea of the targets, then you can figure out your roster composition to meet those targets. So you can try to put together a forward roster that is appropriately defensive to have a goals against of that range, and appropriately offensive to have offensive production within that range. And again, with the differential, the same sort of thing. So you'd want the differential between the goals for and against to line up with what would be sufficient to make the playoffs. So that's kind of the whole purpose of gathering this information, is to give you an idea of the production required or team defense against in order to be a playoff team. So that's kind of the whole purpose of the subject here. So I think really that covers everything. Just give me 1 sec. I want to pull up something else here. Yeah, so like I said, before going into this stream here, I actually was completely unprepared, didn't have enough time to get things started before I started the stream. So I didn't even know what tomorrow's subject was going to be. So I just wanted to pull that up. Of course, as always, I try to schedule my streams a week in advance and tell you the subject a week in advance, unless I want it to be a surprise. But I'll at least schedule the timing, which that should be consistent anyways. But yeah, so tomorrow we are going to have a look at how spending should be distributed amongst the different player groups that I established. So top four forwards, middle four, bottom four, top two defense, middle two, bottom two, and then goalies. So I think tomorrow is going to be a complicated one because I think I'm going to have to navigate multiple data sets that I've produced so far. So I think this is where we start to get more comprehensive and into the results or application of the strategy that I've been, or I guess really executing a strategy or kind of putting together the strategy after you know all the data. So we're going to be starting to get into the interesting stuff about roster composition, roster planning, things like that. So it's going to be pretty neat, I think, moving forward. And so, like I said, I was just checking to see what the subject was because I didn't know. And so that's going to be actually now it's, maybe I'm going to have a bit more pressure on me because we're going to be getting to the tougher stuff. And I do this all on the spot. So it'll be fun tomorrow. And I hope you'll tune in or at least go back and check the stream. So anyways, that's it for today. So once again, thanks for tuning in. If you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. Otherwise, channel homepage should have schedule for upcoming streams, should be 2 p.m. Eastern daily, except for Sundays and except for when I change the timing day of. So for example, today I was half an hour late. So just take a look at the channel homepage to see if there's any changes just before the start of the stream. And yeah, if you have any comments, leave them in the comments, suggestions likewise. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be fun. A lot more work tomorrow, but yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.